Hello friends, welcome to today's reading of Ruby on the Outside. We are almost done. I'm going to read a few more pages more than normal because we are so close to being done with the school year. Chapter 23. It's nearly the end of August and I can barely see summer getting ready to leave. In the way, the morning light comes a little later. I can hear it in the dryness of the leaves blowing outside my screen window in the morning. My last visit with my mom feels like it was a month ago instead of a week, which is what it is. The beginning of summer feels like a lifetime ago. And best of all, it feels like me and Margaret have been friends forever. Best friends. School starts in a mere 2 weeks. Now every day really counts. Slowly, Margaret started telling me little bits about her brother. She has a sad story too. Her brother died of a blood cancer 3 years before Margaret was born. She never knew him, but sometimes when she is telling the story, she just leaves that part out. Sometimes she told me quietly, sometimes she's more sad that she didn't know her brother than that he died. She feels left out of the mourning and the memories her parents share. She feels jealous, even angry, and then she feels guilty for feeling that way. This does not surprise me, and it does not scare me away. So far, things I've told Margaret haven't scared her off either. If I had done the math, I might have figured out earlier that Margaret's brother could not have been the same Josh Tips. But I think when you are trying so hard to hide your own truth, it's hard to see anyone else's. Margaret and I still go to camp every day, but things are winding down there too. Beatrice and Yvette pretty much gave up on being real camp counselors, and most we all just hang out at the pool, all 5 of us, just like a group of friends. Hey, whatever happened to that little book of yours? Beatrice asked. We still have it, Margaret answers quickly. I have it, but we haven't been writing together for a while. To be continued. That was a cool title, Yvette says. Elise started her own little book too, which was mostly pictures of mermaids and elves. At lunch, she forced us all to listen and look at her illustrations. They were cute, even if she was nothing but a big copycat. But what Margaret didn't tell anyone was that all week the book has been at my house because I started another story and this one was all mine. I started a story about a girl named Trudy whose mother was in prison, and whoosh, everything came out. I wrote about how it felt not to live with your mother, not to be able to see or talk to her when you wanted, and not to be able to tell anyone where she was. And about how angry it made me, Trudy. How sad it made her. Trudy got to ask all the questions I had never felt like I could ask, and she could say all the things I thought I should never say. Trudy could be bad and lie about things. She could get in trouble. She could get angry, and she could cry whenever she felt like it. Sometimes I read my story to Margaret over the phone before I go to sleep. It was Margaret's idea that I show it to my mother. Then the more I thought about that, the more I wanted to do it. But first, we need a title, Margaret says. I don't need a title. Every good story needs a title. What I really need is a cell phone, I say, so we can text each other if we aren't in any of the same classes this year. Don't change the subject, Margaret tells me over the phone. But we're going to be in middle school. Everyone has a cell phone, I say. I am under my covers with my notebook. I just finished reading my last chapter out loud to Margaret, the one where the bully stabs Trudy with a pencil in the classroom and she gets in trouble for it, but she gets to make a big, long speech at the end and everyone cheers. So it's worth it. Margaret liked that chapter. Title, Margaret insists. I don't know. I won't be able to bring this to my mom anyway. They don't allow you to bring any books. There's inside rules and there's outside rules. Oh, that's it? Margaret says suddenly. That's what? The title for your book, Ruby on the Outside. You mean Trudy? Yeah, Trudy on the Outside. I like it. Chapter 24. At first, Margaret kept wanting to know why I couldn't just bring the story with me on my visit. And that is the stuff that's hard to explain. And even as I am saying some things, I wonder if it's too much. Because they don't want people smuggling things inside. In a book? Well, yeah, like under the pages glued together. I could tell Margaret didn't understand, and to tell the truth, neither do I. But I know people have tried to put drugs in there. I don't really get it, but some drugs, I guess, can be put into the glue and licked or eaten. It's too gross to even think about, but that's one of the reasons you can't bring books or photo albums, and glitter is a big no-no. It's better if you just mail things, I tell her. So mail it, Margaret says. Still, everything will be taken apart, inspected, and dissected, and that takes forever. All you can do is hope they get to it sooner rather than later. The COs will go through every box. They will read all our letters and they record our phone calls. People mail food all the time, and half the time it goes bad before it reaches the person it was meant for. They will read my story, my very private story, but Margaret is right. It's the only way. So Matu mails my notebook, and maybe it will get to my mother before our next visit. Maybe it won't. It is embarrassing to tell Margaret stuff like this. Actually, most everything is hard to talk about, and thankfully, even though she asks about a lot of things, Margaret still hasn't asked that one question. It's like she just knows not to, like Rebecca or Larissa or Tevin would never ask. You just don't talk about things like that. Margaret hasn't asked what my mother did to get herself locked in prison for 20 to 25 years without parole. I'm glad she never asked, because there are some questions that have no answers. Life is unfair like that. Did your mom get your package? Margaret asks me Friday afternoon.